Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a good old Warhammer 40k Combat Patrol issue. Now, as per usual with all the videos on this channel, if you like them, give it the thumbs up. If you haven't already, click on that subscribe button and of course, just drop us a comment down below. It goes a massive way to helping out the channel and I do really love hearing back from you guys. Anyway, this video, we're actually going to be having a bit of a double feature. So we have two issues to go through this week, issue 30 and issue 31. Issue 31, the video will be out tomorrow. I don't want to bombard you with tons and tons and tons of videos because I don't think it works very well. And it's not really me. But we're going to go through issue 30. So issue 30 should have turned up last week. For where I collect it from, did, but it didn't. So it was actually there last week when I collected issue 11. However, the guy could not find it. So it'd been put in a different place from normal, and yeah, it's his own fault really. So it is what it is. But we now have issue 30. So issue 30 is a paint issue, as you can tell. We have Mechanica Standard Grey, which I must admit I use quite heavily. I used base kind of prime and base layer every mini with Mechanica Standard Grey because I think it works very well, and it's quite obvious where you need to paint with it, which is very good. However, if you're going to prime it with a spray can or anything like that and you don't want to pay GW's prices, get yourself some of the Colourforge Standard Grey, which is this one. If you want to go for a black or anything like that, you've got two choices. You've got matte black or you've got Raven Black. Raven Black is exactly the same as Corvus Black and will give you a nice, smooth, very matte black finish, which is different from your Abaddon Black. So if I show you, so this is primed with the Corvus Black, and you probably won't be able to see it very well because the lighting's a bit terrible, but you can see a little bit of it. It's a little bit of a grayer black than the Abaddon Black, which has been layered over on parts of this already. So it's a pretty decent colour scheme. They also have a 1-for-1 comparison on their website compared to the GW paints, so it's worth checking out if you want to get some spray paints to kind of get going with them or anything like that. Colourforge are very good. You can get them from places like Wayland Games and Element Games, which I do have affiliate links in the description down below. If you want to use them, you do not have to. If you do, it gives me a little bit of a kickback and it will save you a little bit of money because it can be a bit cheaper than ordering directly from Colourforge. So your choice in the end of the day. The other paint we get though is a shade paint. So it's Agrax Earthshade. Agrax Earthshade is fairly decent. I don't use a massive amount of it because I must admit I've got a few pots of this that are actually a bit glossy when it shouldn't be. It is what it is. It sometimes goes like that with some shades. But yeah, it's fairly decent. It's a brown shade, so it's a very earthy kind of colour. So it's very good when you're layering over things like bases and when you're layering it into certain parchments and such like that, which, funnily enough, the magazine is going to tell us exactly how to do that with them. So obviously we're going straight into our how to paint section. We have updates to our mini, so Agrax Earthshade on things like the parchment areas, things like the Chaplain's Book, the good old purity seals and such like that the Space Marines may have. You can use it over things like the red cloaks and parts of red armor, and it will go very well. It dulls things down, so you may want to bring things back with a layer of paint back over it, but it can work very well and does exactly what you need it to do. Very straightforward. If you are going to do that, you may want to follow some of the extra steps on here as well, so bringing it back up with things like your Rakkar Flesh, Wraithbone and the Thistan Red to kind of bring the coloration back into where it kind of sits and works very well. So you get that nice picture of colour and adds more warmth to your minis. So pretty good stuff there really. Once you're done, you're going to have something like that if you're following the guide. If you're not, then obviously it's going to look very different. You can use it on things like your aeldari as well, so things like over the red if you want to, for things like the recess shading. You don't have to go over the entire mini. Especially for your good old Wind Riders, that's the one. I almost forgot what they're called then. So you can go straight down in a line. If you do things like that, you don't have to go back over all the panels, especially on larger flat surfaces. Shades tend to sit, pool, and can go a bit streaky and a bit horrible and not very nice to look at. But if you do recess shading, where you're just going into the areas where you need it, you can clean up the areas afterwards with a little bit of that colour to go and bring it back, and it can work very, very well. So, you know, if you are following that, you're going to have something that looks a bit like that. That works very, very well. I'm not going to lie, it does work pretty damn cool. So, it could be worth doing. Bear that in mind. Then we're going to move on. We have a read section all to do with the Harlequins, which I must admit are my favourite aeldari unit. So, the performance opens to the thundering of engines that rise and fall like music as the hammer of gunfire beats out a rhythm. To the accompaniment of the screams of the enemy, the players of the Harlequins begin their live dance across the field, maintaining their flawless choreography until the final curtain falls. So, the Harlequins are a group of aeldari who live and fight in groups called masks. These are halfway between a band of warriors and a band of performers, for the Harlequins blend stagecraft with violence to gain superiority over their enemies. So, which is why they wear kind of like these jester masks and stuff like that. I must admit, I do really, really like them. However, my only downside with them is they look like they're a challenge to paint. Painting that checkerboard pattern on them is not simple. It's not a simple way of painting. You have to have a very, very steady hand, and you have to be willing to make mistakes to get it right. So, take your time. If you are going to ever go with Harlequins, take your time with them, because they are going to be a bit of a challenge. For things like with vehicles and everything like that, you can use masking tape on those, so that can make life a lot easier. But that's a little bit harder to do with the actual Harlequins themselves, and things like the Shadow Seer and such like that, and the Death Jester, which are all part of the Harlequin kind of range, essentially. So yeah, pretty good stuff though. I must admit, I do really, really like them. You get a bit more on the other side, so you get the Death Jester, Shadow Seers, and Solitaires, which Solitaire is also a really, really cool mini. Death Jester's pretty damn cool, and I must admit, the Shadow Seer is probably one of the best ones. And the troop itself is a really, really cool blend of nutty and fun, and they all have tactical rocks, as you can see. The entire range does, which is, sometimes really fun. So, pretty cool stuff. As I say, definitely my favourite aeldari units. Moving on from there, though, we have a read section for the Warp and the Realm of Chaos. The Warp is a dimension of endless strangeness. Within its bounds exist many things, and some take the form of malevolent entities and demons. Of these, some in particular have caught the notice and imagination of real space species and reach out to spread their influence beyond the confines of the Immaterium. Amid the swirling currents of the Immaterium flow all the emotions of the sentient species of real space, their anger, their lust, their horror, and their desire for change. From these psychic energies have arisen powerful beings that are known as the Chaos Gods. So, if you're unaware about Chaos are obviously very, very much exist within the Warp. They are nightmare creatures in both Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, and Warhammer the Old World. And there are many, 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 many denizens of the forces of chaos. So, you not only have demons to contend with, you have mortals that have turned traitor, you have disease and plague, you have awesome and wicked spells, and you have Chaos Space Marines in Warhammer 40k, which are obviously traitor legions, which is pretty damn cool. You get a little bit more information about the different gods as well. So you have Khorne. Khorne is the blood god. and he embodies rage, violence, and aggression. He is depicted as a gigantic figure clad in armour, wielding a huge sword, and seated upon a throne of skulls. Not a skull of thrones. Tzeentch is the god of change and manipulation. He is depicted as a forever shifting figure, covered in faces that laugh, babble, and cry incessantly as they swirl about his form. Nurgle is the god of disease and pestilence. Known by his adoring fans and followers as Grandfather Nurgle, he is depicted as a grotesque mass of rotting flesh covered in oozing buboes and open sores. And then you have Slaanesh. Slaanesh is the god of excess and decadence. Known as the Dark Prince, he is often depicted as an androgynous figure, garbed in finery whose eyes can steal away the souls of any brave enough to look into them. So, a little bit of a breakdown of what each god is all about. So, if you are going to go down the route of chaos, you may want to go with Khorne. They're very, very focused on aggression and beating the hell out of everything and just using overwhelming numbers and odds and not really caring about what happens to them. Just basically full force head-on attack. Tzeentch, very much about utilising magic and kind of manipulation and subtlety, really. Nurgle, obviously all about spreading disease and using essentially monsters in a lot of ways. So it uses a lot of kind of like zombies and your Death Guard and such like that, and much, much more to kind of go through it. And you get these great unclean ones, which are pretty damn cool minis, and they're quite grotesque and horrible and fetid and everything like that. And then you have Slaanesh, which is all about beauty and weirdness and a bit of excess. So if you look at any of the Slaanesh range, you have some really, really cool ones. Slaanesh also has things like the Noise Marines and stuff like that. So all of them have their own kind of Space Marine chapters that kind of follow them. So like for Tzeentch, it's the Rubric Marines and the which are the Thousand Suns, which are really, really cool. They're very kind of Egyptian inspired, which look really good, and also appear in good old Warhammer Space Marine 2. For Khorne, you've got all your World Eaters and such like that, which are pretty cool. Nurgle have the Death Guard, also really cool. And then Slaanesh has the things like the Noise Marines and such like that are kind of the newer range. But all of them can have the joint forces of Chaos Space Marines that kind of accompany them and work with them, which is pretty cool. Talking of Space Marines, we get a read section to give us an introduction about the Chaos Space Marines themselves. So, legacies of betrayal. The Chaos Space Marines are furiously violent groups of former Space Marines who have been corrupted and twisted by the taint of chaos. They pursue their horrifying vendetta against the rest of the galaxy with pitiless brutality as they slaughter and destroy all those who dare to stand in their way. During the Horus Heresy, many of the formerly loyal Space Marines turned their backs on the Emperor. The powers of chaos are cunning, and each traitor was lured in different ways. Some, seeing the Emperor as a tyrant and an oppressor, joined the rebellion in search of freedom and justice. Others were offered power and influence in exchange for abandoning their duty to the Imperium. So you get a nice little bit of information about essentially the Horus Heresy there as well, and how the traitor legions came to be. If you really, really want to go for any of it, you can get some really cool looking Chaos Space Marines as well. So you have that really cool looking champion who is pretty damn big. And you have things like Abaddon Black's Legion. You have things like the good old Forge Fiend and such like that. You have some pretty damn cool looking ones. You have some Fiends which have grown tentacles and mutated out of their Space Marine armor and such like. And yeah, pretty damn cool. So there are some really, really good looking Chaos factions. Moving on, we have a play. So we get a new core mission. So core mission 2, Archaeotech Recovery, should I say. So it's all about having your mission. So 2 different sides and your different kind of control points and such like that. So it's definitely worth having a little bit of a play with. And obviously, because it's Combat Patrol, you can play it through with any of the factions that we get with this magazine, and the ones that you don't. So if you want to include things like the good old Adepta, the Sisters of Battle, I've forgotten what they're called, into there, the Adeptus Custodes, you want to join in the good old Adeptus Mechanicus or anything like that, you can bring those all into it and expand that table as far and wide as you want, depending on the Combat Patrol you want to play as. So, your choice. Have a bit of fun. Then you get more information about the core rules and the fact for the movement phase and how that works and how to utilise the movement phase properly, which is always very, very worth it. And also how to utilise things like flying. So flying, you literally can do a straight line. So it's not a case of going up and up. You can just literally straight line it to wherever you need to go. And so, for instance, you can go from flying from the floor to a building if you really, really wanted to. And then you get a bit more information about things like reinforcements and transports as well. So it's definitely worth having a really, really good look through all of this, because this will help out later on, especially if you're playing bigger battles than just the Combat Patrol missions themselves. Happy days. Moving on from there, obviously, issue 31. Issue 31 is our Dark Apostle and Dark Disciples. As you can see, I've already got a Dark Apostle there, because I bought it ages ago and I've only just decided to prime him. Anyway, really, really cool. I do quite like the mini. I think it looks really, really nice. It's a very, very good one. And obviously we get that with issue 31, which will be the next video you see on this channel. Then issue 32 is a paint issue. So we get Reichland Flesh Shade, which is pretty good over things like your Rathgar Flesh or Wraithbone, or even Corax White. It can give you a nice peachy kind of pinky tone, which works exactly like Flesh does. If you use it over things like Kislev Flesh, it darkens the flesh down, and then you need to bring it back up. But you can do it that way if you wanted to. You can also use it over things like gold as well, and it gives you a nice bright burnished gold as well. So it gives you a nice, nice looking gold, and not a dirty gold. Then we're going to get Auric Flesh. Auric Flesh is a really, really good green paint. I must admit, I do use it for any Oryx. So, for instance, when we were doing good old Stormbringer magazine, I utilised it for a lot of the Auric range and the Grot range and stuff like that. Obviously, we get Orcs with this range, so that paint's going to come in very, very, very handy in the near future, because the Orcs are really, really good fun. And if you're using those and then you use, say, like your good old Bealtan Green or anything like that over the top of it, it works very nicely. Does really good job. Anyway, that is more than enough from me. This is a longer video than I actually expected. Thank you very, very much for watching, and look out for issue 31, which the video will be up tomorrow. Bye bye now.